But I was going to say, talking about your current project that you're dealing with, something that's kind of in fruition now. What have you got rolling that we need to be looking out for?
I feel like the most successful projects will be the ones where we've done the engagement with not just the core team of the client side, but also with their teams and head departments and other managers. I feel like whilst it is challenging now being a workplace designer. Like I feel like since the pandemic, we were faced with a challenge of creating these amazing environments that people would rather be in comparison to staying at home. Right? So we have to create this amazing destination where we want people to be able to come in and want to be rather than staying at home with their families and do the travel that's worth it and so on. So whilst it's been really challenging, I feel like this is like the best time for workplace designers as well, because now our clients are taking the time to understand what the people want. Like they're actually asking the right questions. What will make you come into the office? Like, what do you need to do your best work? Whilst before we didn't really have a choice. It's funny to think about how before we just came into work from 9 to 5 every single day, 5 days a week. Now I can choose, or a lot of companies still can choose. I can stay at home or I can go into the office. And if the office is not going to offer me anything better than a home does, then why would I go there? Like it needs to have more value. So now we do a lot more engagement with our clients and the teams and various workshops and interviews online, in person, and we do utilization studies. So there's almost like there's data, right? So data, it's utilization studies, online surveys. Data is facts. It needs to be appreciated and understood. But then there's also a story, and the story is a lot more human. It's asking people the right questions and really listening and understanding what your people need, what are their expectations from the future physical environment. So it's something you need to feel and understand and listen. So when you put the two together, the data and the story, then you have the foundation. You almost come up with your why, right? Why are we doing this? And if you nail down the why, then the people will that is relatable to your team, they will understand it and they will support you, right? So they will support the core team throughout that journey of the new design of the office. So, it all goes back to the people and listening. And it's going back to that almost personalization as well. At the beginning of our conversation, what we talked about. And it's when you make people feel like they're part of the process of the design. So with our previous projects with and Kantar and TomTom, we've invited team members from the client side to come and join us in the showroom visits, and they made decisions. They picked the actual furniture pieces, and then it feels like they're actually creating their own physical environment. It's like, you picking furniture for your home. So then when you come back to the office, it's like, oh, like this is the piece I picked, right? I made that decision.
Right.
Guys, listen, yeah, right,
Yeah.
It was my idea to put a curtain there. So then you're designing together. Obviously, I love when the client challenges us, and I love when the clients love being challenged. So then it just becomes this lovely collaboration from both sides. But yeah, what makes a project successful is listening to the people and designing offices to people's needs.
Digging in and finding that why. I mean, that is so at the center of it all, isn't it? Because I think like a hollow reason to come back to the office is just so. Why do you want me there? You're just watching my screen, or it's just presenteeism. You're like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? But I think if we can actually, this is why you want to come in. This is why it's beneficial for you. This is why it helps you. And we've got those answers. And I guess it's different for every client, or do you find some common threads?
So there will be recurring themes, as we mentioned before, like what's not working to start with. So to start with, when we start the journey, it's almost like, what is currently not working? Let's start with that. Let's analyze your existing environment. So as we mentioned before, not fit for humans, the technology is failing, no spaces to connect, to socialize, no spaces to be creative, collaborate. And then from there you go, so what do we want to achieve within the future workplace? And you have to look at, obviously, listen to the people, what they want, what is their vision,
Mm-hmm.
but also what is the company's vision too, right? The two need to be aligned. Because if a client decides to relocate, for example, and they're kind of they're making a decision whether they stay and refurbish their current environment or they move to a new location, new building. Very often you have to look back at, so perfect example, very obvious, their sustainability goals. The building at the moment they're in is really old, is not green. So the business is moving, the business is growing, the priorities are changing. So even though most people live around the building, we need to move somewhere that is a lot greener, more aligned to our values and aspirations for the future. So you have to look at what people want, what the company is, what the values are and aspirations, and put the two together.
Yeah, that's nice.